Holloway versus Gaethje, BMF title. Now, I like the BMF title. Some people think it's dumb. I like it. If you get guys who are like blood and guts fighters, who are technical as well, but they always put up great fights. They're not there to win the points. They're not there thinking about what the judge is going to do if I put my foot. Like, they're not playing points here. They're trying to win. They're fighting. They have a fight. It's hard to describe. They want to exchange. They want to fight. Think about this. Think about this for a second. Max Holloway won all 5 rounds. He won round 1 through 4. Going into the 5th, he's still trying to finish. He's still trying to fight. Now, if you're being generous, there's one round I think you can give to Gaethje. I think it was the second one. If you're being generous, it was close. Second round was close. I don't want to get in deep in that topic, but think about Holloway. There's like 30 seconds left, and he's pointing at Gaethje, get in the middle. Let's get in the middle. Like, why would you do that? You're winning the fight. That's a BMF. He's like, get in the middle. Come on, let's go in the middle right now. Let's trade in the middle. And of course, Gaethje, being a BMF, he's like, okay, sure, this is a great idea. Let's stand in the middle and trade. 1 second left. Gaethje gets knocked out. The referee's jumping in, stops the fight with 1 second left. Now, the drama is that these guys Holloway doesn't need to do this. And Holloway is asking for it. Like, why? I understand if Gaethje was like, let's get in the middle. Stop moving around. Let's get... Max Holloway did the craziest. And he's done it in the past, of course. But it was so crazy to do that. I don't think he cares about the BMF title. He wants to be world champion. He wants to be UFC champion. But that's what makes him BMF. You know, he doesn't care. And at the last minute, he's like, I'm winning. Even though I'm winning all 5 rounds, let's get in the middle and let's trade. That was insane. What do you think? What do you attribute Max's success to? Question mark. Do you think he wins if he doesn't break Justin's nose early? That's from Overlap 618. Guys, I got to talk about this fight more in detail. First of all, Max poked the eye twice. And man, for those of you who don't spar with MMA, like I spar with MMA gloves, and I'll tell you something, when you get poked in the eye, I don't care if you're Brock Lesnar. If you get poked in the eye, it can change the whole fight. Now, the poke happened twice, and it was bad because it was each eye. Justin Gaethje's vision might have been severely impaired, but here's the problem. Justin Gaethje will never talk about it. He's just the type of guy that will fight on no matter what. I don't care if it's like, it's such an insane, like the second time Max poked his eye, I thought, I was sitting down watching the fight with my wife, and I was like, you know what? The ref has to take a point. Like, this is insane. Like, you got to give him the whole 5 minutes. This is too important. Like, it was a severe eye poke. And the thing is, people who've never been poked in the eye, your vision doesn't come back 100%. Sometimes it's blurry. Your eyes are tearing. It just, you're throwing punches. You're trying to find your target, and your eyes are blurry. Now he had both eyes injured. Now, sometimes you get poked in the eye, and it's not so bad, and you're perfectly fine. I just find that it could have been a major issue. Now, I'm not making excuses, of course. Max Holloway won. Justin Gaethje didn't take his full 5 minutes. But the thing is, how bad was his eye? And he'll never tell us. That's the thing. He'll probably never mention it. He'll probably never discuss it. Maybe he was seeing 3, 4, 5 Max Holloways when he was in there. Sometimes you get poked in the eye and you're seeing like double, triple. He didn't look right. His striking didn't look right. His movement didn't look right. He wasn't finding his target. Did it have to do more with the eye poke? But also, at the same time, you had Max Holloway looking better than he ever did. I like him at 155. I think his weight cuts are maybe holding him back. Fighting at 155 is something that I'm really excited to see. Max Holloway at 155, I think he can maybe surprise us. Maybe it's a better weight class for him. Now, at the end of round 1, Max Holloway threw a back kick while Justin Gaethje was ducking down, and it hit him in the nose. I think he had a broken nose. That's such a nightmare. 2 eye pokes. The second eye poke happened in round 2, but you got to think about this. Early in the fight, he had a broken nose and 2 eye pokes. That's bad news. Really bad news. I hope they both got a bonus. I really hope they both got a bonus. For him to fight through those 2 eye pokes and a broken nose, the man deserves a bonus. Was it the greatest KO in MMA history? I give you guys a list of my 4 top KOs in MMA history. Make sure you fill in the poll. Put in your vote. I'm going to go through the 4 greatest KOs in MMA history. I know there's many. I keep thinking of more and more KOs. I keep thinking of all the years I've been going to UFC and all the fights around the world. There are so many great KOs. And usually the KO has a story behind it. It's not what punched you through. It's not what kicked you through. It's not when you did it. It's not because there was 1 second left. Max Holloway knocks out Justin Gaethje with 1 second left. It wasn't just because of that. A lot of times it's the build-up. It's the build-up to the fight. Now, number 1 on the list, I put Aldo versus McGregor. Let me open up this list. Aldo versus McGregor. McGregor is insulting the greatest featherweight of all time. He's just insulting everything about Jose Aldo. Then Jose Aldo pulls out with a bad rib, and everybody with a bad rib. The first time they were supposed to fight each other, they went on a world tour, and McGregor's lips were flapping in the wind. It was just the most brutal bullying, just bullying Jose Aldo nonstop. Jose Aldo pulls out, and a lot of people are like, no, he's in Jose Aldo's head. This is not right. How could Jose pull out? Hey, you gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. The guy's a professional MMA fighter. He could get hurt in practice. That's not abnormal. It happens all the time. Absolutely. Even to the toughest, strongest, most athletic guys are gonna get injured. We give him the benefit of the doubt. Now they postpone. Everything's postponed. McGregor's talking nonstop smack. He's building up the fight, even though the fight is off. He's building up for the next one. They finally get the fight signed again, and they're fighting. Guys, I was at the weigh-ins. I had fighters fighting. I was watching them behind the curtain as they were getting ready to make it to the scale. Now, I had fighters who were fighting on the prelim card and the undercard, so we had weighed in and sat down in the back, and we're watching now the main event guys come in. And the main event is Jose Aldo and McGregor. And let me tell you something. The UFC had to keep them separated. Both teams were cursing at one another, super hostile. This is not fake, guys. The hostility is 100% real. The hostility between the two. It's not like they're super nice to each other and then the camera turns on and then they start going at it and they're putting on a WWF show, WWE, whatever you want to call it. No, I guess I could tell you. I was sitting there in my seat behind the curtain. The guys were rehydrating, and McGregor comes out, and Aldo's crew comes out, and the UFC has to keep them separated, and they're cursing each other, they're insulting each other. These guys absolutely despise one another. You guys all saw the fight. There's nobody in the world who didn't see that fight, because after the KO happened, it was all over the internet. It was 13 seconds long. The fight was just 13 seconds. All that hype. Literally over a year of hype. Jose Aldo gets knocked out in round 1. What was so incredible about that fight was that the fact that most people didn't notice this, which I find crazy, is Jose Aldo throws a right hand left hook. As he's throwing that left hook, he gets hit by McGregor's left. His lights are out. Jose Aldo is out. His eyes close, his body goes limp, but that left hook still traveling through the air. I've never seen this before, guys. I've seen countless fights, countless. Jose Aldo is throwing a right hand left hook. As he's throwing the left hook, he gets knocked out. As he's falling towards the ground, that left hook is still traveling through the air, and guess what? It hits McGregor on the side of the temple. It cuts him. It cuts McGregor. The man was knocked out and still landed a powerful punch on McGregor's head. Of course, McGregor, he didn't wobble or anything like that, but he gets on top of Aldo, hits him 2 more times with a couple of hammer fists. John McCarthy, I'm forgetting who the ref was now. The ref jumps in, breaks it up, and Jose Aldo is out. 13 seconds. Arguably the greatest KO of all time. Next on the list, guys, the build-up for Holm versus Rousey was insane. Why was it insane? Joe Rogan called Ronda Rousey a 1 in a history. Not a 1 in a lifetime, not a 1 in a generation, not a 1 in a century. No. He called her a 1 in a history, meaning in all of history. For those who don't know, like, we got to rewind. He's talking about the Big Bang. We're talking about 15 billion years. Out of 15 billion years, like, this is only going to happen once. Like, it was an insane amount of hype behind Ronda Rousey. Okay, now I'm not going to say she was worth it or not worth it. That's for you guys to decide. But there was so much hype behind Ronda Rousey. It was insane. Now she's fighting Holly Holm. Holly Holm was a great kickboxer, a great boxer, but everybody thought she's going to get taken down because she has no ground game. She's a blue belt at best. Ronda Rousey's a black belt, and she's a world-class black belt in the female. Like, she's head and shoulders above any girl in grappling. And Holly Holm is a blue belt at best. She's on the lower scale of the female grapplers. She's on the lower scale, and everybody's like, there's no way she's going to stop Ronda's takedowns. There's just no way. She's an Olympian. Ronda's an Olympian. Ronda's a silver medalist. Like, she's an Olympian. She can't be beat in the grappling. She can't be beat. Guys, there was so much drama in that fight. Not only before the fight. Of course, before the fight, Ronda unleashes a storm of insults, because they kind of push each other at the way. And that clip went viral. The whole world was watching that hype. It was in Australia, 55,000 fans, record-breaking attendance. Before that, it was Toronto, 50,000 people. George St. Pierre versus Jake Shields. Had 5 fighters on that card that night. Now this is a new record, 55,000 people in Australia. You all saw it. There's nobody in the world who didn't see that KO. The head kick, KO. The memes were vicious, guys. There was so much blowback for all the things that Ronda did and said in the past. You guys, before that fight, she had done tough, and we saw her personality, and it's very controversial personality. People were using the B word. People were like, it was vicious. And the memes after her loss were the most vicious I've ever seen. I've never seen people step on somebody for losing so badly. It was insane. Even her family had to write a public statement. One of her sisters had to make a public statement saying, look, these memes, the people coming after us, the people insulting my sister, it's just so vicious. She had to come out and make a public statement. It was insane. Guys, I was there for the Jose Aldo knockout. I was there for, not the Ronda Rousey Holly Holm, but I was there when Ronda lost to, I'm forgetting, she got knocked out again with Nunes. But the Holly Holm backlash was so severe. Guys, I did a post-fight analysis of that fight. Ronda versus Holly. I woke up the next morning, I was over 1 million views, and then YouTube took my video off the channel. They took it out. They suspended it. Why? Because I used pictures or a little bit of footage from UFC. They what do you call it when they block your video? This video is no longer available. They banned my video. I woke up the next day. I was like, man, 1 million people watched this. Like, I couldn't believe the memes and the attention this KO got. Everybody saw that KO. Then we had Masvidal versus Askren. Masvidal and Askren is not even a world title fight. Why are we talking about a fight that's a main card? Yes, but we're talking about the best KOs in history. Why would a non-title fight be so highly ranked? Let me tell you why, okay? Ben Askren was the Bellator champion. And as the active champion, they cut him. They didn't want him. Imagine that. The Bellator champion getting cut. Why was he getting cut? Well, they thought he was boring. He was the most boring guy. His fight is boring. And one time I remember he was on the mic and he said he had won his fight and the fans were booing. For those of you, you all know Ben Askren. He takes people down. He's a mauler. He just kind of like, people found him boring. I liked him. I like watching his takedowns. I like watching his chain wrestling. But a lot of people thought he was super boring. One, he has like a bit of a dad bod. And so that's not really impressive. People have a stigma against that for some reason. Then he takes his opponents down. He kind of mauls them, but he kind of like gives like these hammer fists that are not super powerful. And it's just like, you're in for 25 minutes of just holding. He's a genius wrestler. But a lot of holding going on. People hated him. They would boo. And then I remember one time on the mic, he won a fight. Fans were booing, and he's like, if the fans are booing, that means I'm doing my job. That's what he said on the mic. Arguably the worst thing I'd ever heard anybody say on the mic in terms of marketing. The worst. Instead of like, okay, next one I promise you guys a finish. Next time I promise you guys I'm gonna keep it standing up. Like redeem yourself. No, he's like, yeah, guys, pay for my salary, buy tickets, and I'm gonna bore the hell out of you. Like it was the worst marketing maneuver I've ever seen. He gets cut. He's floating around, begging to get in UFC, begging, like making, even literally he made a music video to get in UFC. Nobody wanted him. Dana White famously said, Ben Askren makes John Fitch look like Anthony Pettis. John Fitch, another guy he was a great fighter as well, went on an incredible UFC winning streak, fought George St. Pierre in a very exciting fight. However, he was being criticized in UFC for being a little bit boring. Some fans didn't like his fighting style. But Dana White was saying, compared to Askren, John Fitch is Showtime Pettis. Now, Showtime, you guys all know, he's a highlight reel. He's a human highlight reel. Ben Askren is coming into UFC. People think he's going to bore us to death. He's going to grab Masvidal. He's going to hold him down. How did he get in UFC? Why did they let him in UFC? Everybody's kind of complaining. And he's trying to trash talk Masvidal. Masvidal is promising. I was there, guys. I was there. I had guys fighting on that card as well. The beef was real, guys. I'm telling you. Masvidal wanted to kill Ben Askren. Like he was saying, I'm gonna destroy Ben Askren. He was telling him it's not over. Even when I knock him out, it's not gonna be over. Like he's talking about we're gonna have altercations in the street. Masvidal absolutely despises him. Everybody thought Ben Askren was gonna take him down, maul him for 15 minutes, and it was gonna be a snooze fest. What did we get? We got a flying knee across the cage. And Masvidal tricked us all. Masvidal started with his hands behind his back, leaning on the cage. It was the biggest rope-a-dope since Ali. It was the biggest rope-a-dope since Ali. What did he do? He put his hands behind the fight starts. He walks away from Ben Askren, leans up against the fence like he's about to smoke a cigarette, puts his hands behind his back like he's waiting for a bus or something, and then sprints towards Ben Askren, does a flying knee, knocks him out. But not only did he knock him out, he cracked him with 2 more shots. The referee had to run at top speed. It shocked us all. It was the most unexpected KO, and that's why it's on the list. Guys, that KO was played 24 hours a day all over YouTube nonstop till today. They still play it. It's insane how many views that KO got. And of course, what happened last night. Max Holloway. By the way, I got to say, he looks better at 155 than 145. I can't believe how thick and muscular he was, and how quick he was, and how fast and how powerful he was.